Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Path of Me. I'm your host, Wendy Hutchinson, and my guest today is the creative genius behind Rockhaus Metals. She's a mother of 4-year-old twins. She's also my cousin, who I adore and love. Her name is Kristina Brownell. Welcome, Kristina.
So much. Thanks for the sweet intro.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing to show up today and share your story. I know that you had a background in art. Is that something that's always been a part of who you are?
Yeah, I feel like I get a lot of that from my mom. Grew up always doing some sort of craft with her, or art hobby or art project. And real early on, she signed me up for oil painting lessons. And
How old were you when you started that?
I want to say I was in 2nd or 3rd grade.
Oh, you were really young when you
started. Wait, is that right? Sorry, wrong. It was in 5th grade. It was in elementary school. I'm like, what? But it was in 5th grade when we moved back to Florida. So, my mom oil painted, very artistic. So she found a wonderful lady who lived not too far from us, who taught small, private group lessons. And I ended up loving that and doing that for about 7 years total, throughout. I stopped for a little bit when I got into high school because I ended up getting into sports and whatnot, but found my way back to it. Through my senior year of high school. So I oil painted for a long time. That was
You're an incredible artist.
Thank you.
Us were doing stick figures, tigers that look totally realistic and just amazing stuff. We're yeah, I think we know who got the artistic talent. Definitely Kristina.
Thank you.
So you went off to college, and did you pursue art in college, or what was your degree in?
I didn't. I stayed in my hometown and did a couple years at the local community college, and I wanted to do art, but I knew I wanted to go off to university. And, I was looking into graphic design, but the programs that they had the credits didn't go towards a Bachelor of Science. I wanted to be able to, transfer over to a university at some point. So I ended up going into business administration. And then I majored in marketing. Eventually moved down to Orlando to go to University of Central Florida. And, honestly, that's given me a really, really great foundation being in marketing for what I'm doing now. So
exactly. You know how to market your business, that's for sure.
Yes, it's definitely helped.
Working full-time, got married, you were in marketing, you had a full career, then you got pregnant 4 years ago, or 5, I guess.
Yeah.
Twins. What was that like, having to adapt to not one child, but 2 babies, and working full-time? I don't know how you did it.
Well, it was definitely, I have to say, becoming a new mom in general is it's hard. It just totally rocks your world, and you just can't prepare for it. And having 2 at once was extremely hard, but we didn't know any different, right? We're both just brand new parents and just surviving.
Yeah. Day to day, probably.
Yeah. And honestly, I took 3 months maternity leave, and I was extremely fortunate, really great marketing job, and the company let me come back on a part-time basis after those 3 months. So I was able to ease back into, career, work life. The girls went into daycare and I went back to work. So it's really hard going back after taking that time off and being in this mommy mode, and then being thrown into, I have to talk with adults and deal with.
Yeah, you have deadlines. They don't care if you got no sleep.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And I don't know how we functioned off of just a few hours of sleep, but you just, I don't know, you just make it work.
Survive.
Yeah.
Survive.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you were kind of losing the sense of who you were?
Honestly, I didn't know it at the time, but I dealt with postpartum depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And it really wasn't diagnosed till about, a few years after they were born that I
Really? So you really struggled for a couple of years without really knowing.
But not really. It didn't really manifest itself. It started manifesting itself physically in me in 2017. And that's when I went and got help. But kind of stepping back a little bit, it's hard becoming a new mom. And, about a year and a half in, I was like, I'm at my job, I went back to between 30-35 hours a week. And,
it's basically full-time.
Basically full-time. And I'm just like, who am I? Like, I just felt really lost.
Yeah.
And, Randy, my husband, was very, very awesome and said, he noticed like I didn't paint anymore. I wasn't doing anything creatively. And he said, anytime you go and you have time away from the girls or the family, you're going to meet friends or you're going to run an errand. Like, you're not doing anything for you. So find something that is fulfilling to you, that, brings you some sort of joy. So I don't even know what it was, or how I stumbled upon it, but I somehow found metalsmithing and decided that's what I wanted to try. Like, cause I love to make and create and use my hands and so I kind of stumbled into it that way.
Did you just take one class and you were off and running, or did you take a series? Like, how did that work?
I found a woman who taught private lessons out of her home, and she luckily was super flexible with her hours. So I would go in the evening after the girls went to bed. So I didn't feel like I was taking away time from them. Again, they were a year and a half at this point. And I took 4 like intro to metalsmithing classes with her. So it was just the basics and the foundation. And after those classes, I was so hooked. Yeah. I was like, I just made a ring. Like, what? How did I make a ring out of metal with a stone in it? It was just so amazing. And I was like, I gotta get more of this. I gotta do it some more.
Yeah. So did you consciously decide to kind of create this side hustle? Or did it organically just happen? Like, you started making things, and you're like, people saw it and were like, hey, I'd, love to buy that, or like, how did that work?
Well, I bought the tools, and, we carved a little corner out like in the room. I had a little like old desk at the time, and, started buying stuff and started making and started posting a few things on my personal Instagram. And then of course, like, the creative marketing side of me decided, like, I'm going to make a logo. I'm going to make this thing, I'm going to brand it. Yeah. But then I had friends who started saying, like, I want to buy, you should totally sell, or you should start an Etsy shop. Like, we want to buy stuff. And I started selling to friends. And, I've got some really awesome friends here in Orlando who are running small businesses who, were very, helpful and supportive and kind of helped me work through that. So yeah, it turned into this side hustle. And, Randy was like, I didn't mean for you to like go start a business. And
I thought you would do this little hobby for a couple hours a week.
Right.
And the kids all weekend while you're out at these pop-ups, right?
I know, but like it's an outlet for me. Like, I could work on jewelry for hours. And so it was, it just kind of organic.
That's how you know that you found something that you're totally born to do or meant to do, is because when you're doing it, it's not work, and it's just time is just slipping away, and it feels like no time at all. That's how you really know that this is it. This is what you really should be focusing on, right?
Yeah.
So how did you come to that decision? You come to this pivotal moment where you have to kind of take a leap of faith and say, okay, I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm gonna, create Rockhaus Metals, which is such a cool name, and turn this into a full-time deal. How did you come to that decision? I know Randy obviously had to be on board and supportive of it, but what made you kind of think about shifting and going that direction, leaving the security of a corporate, paycheck and benefits?
Yeah.
And that?
Which is so scary. Okay, so let's see. I started Rockhaus officially in November 2017, when I launched my Etsy. And so 2018 was my first, first, oh my gosh, now I'm getting all mixed up here. 2016, I'm sorry, when I started it. I took lessons in 2016. So yeah, 2017, first like full year of Rockhaus in business. And just really, still learning. Like I'm constantly still learning. Like
Yeah.
There's so many new methods and techniques, and I'm just trying to get better, of course. But as I'm growing as an artist and growing the business, around the beginning of 2018, it's just all I can think about. Like, all I want to do is go home and work on jewelry. And I'm like constantly thinking of designs in my head, and, I'm at work, and I gotta wait till I get home. And by the time I get home, it's like scooping up the girls from daycare, coming home,
Dinner, baths, stories.
Yeah. And so by the time they're asleep, I'm so exhausted, and there's not much left in me to create, or at least I don't have that creative spark or energy anymore.
Yeah.
And so I started to feel like this sounds super dramatic, but slowly like dying inside, because I just had this strong urge to want to put everything into Rockhaus. And so I don't know, about the summertime last year, I came to this decision that I wanted to elevate my brand a bit. I wanted to take it to the next level. So I hired somebody to help me with a mini rebranding, with a new logo, new look, colors, everything. And then she designed a website for me, so that I could be, just have my own platform. So we went through that process, and honestly, like, that was a big boost for me. And it gave me a lot more drive to want to pursue this.
Put something on the website.
And I needed more inventory to put on there, but
right.
Yeah, it was a good I don't know, confidence boost for me, and just like, I don't know, the timing.
It probably felt right.
It did, and it just
felt right.
So like, I just felt like I have to do this. It was just this super strong urge that I couldn't not do. And Randy was like, well, when does your website launch? And I was like, well, we're hoping for early November, because we had talked about me quitting my job when the girls go to kindergarten. Well, that's not happening till August 2020. So
right.
Here I am, like, oh, like, I can't wait.
I'm gonna die before then. My soul's dying now.
But as 2018 progressed, and I was, my business is growing, and I'm doing pop-ups and markets, and we're seeing a return. But I can only get so much.
Your time is so limited. Your inventory requires time, right?
Absolutely.
And then you're working, so it was kind of a catch-22, right? Where you're stuck.
Totally.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so Randy said, well, when does it launch? Like, why don't we just do this then? Like, why wait? Like, let's just do this. So
he is so awesome. He has been so supportive. I mean, I know he's a great dad.
Yeah.
Supportive of you as a partner.
Yes.
And you're so blessed,
I am. He's, all around great great husband, great father, just great, loving, kind man. So yeah, I have him to thank, obviously for all this. And yeah, I mean, we had to, it wasn't just like, oh yeah, you can quit, it's fine. We had to sit down and, obviously
work
go
your numbers
the
and
budget and see how much, because the girls are still in daycare. There's no way I could get anything done with them home. And we love their daycare, and they were like learning so much every day at school. So
yeah.
we wanted to keep that situation going. So we had to figure out, how much do I need to bring in every week to continue
Where can we cut, right?
Yeah. What can we get rid of? What do we,
Yeah.
So there's definitely pressure, but it's good pressure on me. And I know like what, I know what my goals are, what my monthly goals are as far as what I need to bring in gross. And
you're probably getting a better sense too of how much you can sell and what the top sellers are of your product. What's the easiest to make? What's the top sellers? And you can really kind of crank some of those out to kind of move your business along at these pop-up shops and online too.
Yeah, it's been so nice to really just focus all my energy and all my creative energy on my business and building.
Did you find that once you started to commit to that, you started to come back to yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, even when I started, so when I started metalsmithing, I felt like I was kind of tapping into this old part of me that I kind of pushed aside, and, trying to find your identity, I guess, when you become a mom. And so metalsmithing really helped. But like I mentioned, in 2017, I started having like, neck pains, back pains, this weird head, like all these like physical ailments. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I not healthy? What's going on? And anxiety, like crazy. I was raging out, like raging on my kids.
It was just like maybe suppressed. When you're suppressing and kind of denying your soul, it starts to just seep out. Like the universe starts to show you in very tangible and physical ways.
Yes.
You're way off center.
I was so, even though I found metalsmithing and I had started this business and I had all this going for me, it was like I was off center, and I just really needed to focus on self-care.
Yeah, and it's so hard when you don't have time. How did that process unfold for you? Because I know for me, I was in that place also in my life, and I didn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to start to take care of myself because I had been taking care of everyone else my whole life.
Yeah.
It was so hard to come back. And it was like a slow crawl for me. How did that process unfold for you?
I finally, well, first, I just reached out to my general practitioner, to my doctor, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm feeling all this neck pain, hip pain, but we finally kind of pinpointed, like, I went through, a lot of postpartum shit. And I just talking about it and expressing like all the feelings that I had after they were born, and, how I felt, and, recognizing like that's what it was. And just putting it out in the universe and talking about it openly was like first part of kind of healing and getting past that. And, I'll be straightforward. She put me on some Wellbutrin, some antidepressants to kind of help me
navigate that.
Yeah. I felt like I was in a hole, like I was at my lowest. And so, I didn't want to stay on them for long. And I ended up finding my way back to my acupuncturist, who I had seen for a couple years and before I got pregnant with the girls. So, and I don't know why I waited so long to go back to her. And when I finally did, I felt like things started, I don't know. Yeah. And then I went and I started going to a chiropractor there at the office as well. And I slowly weaned off of the Wellbutrin. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was just for me, you know, this holistically, I needed to manage, you know, everything that I was going through and yeah, practicing self-care. And, you know, I needed help. I needed help from, you know,
recognizing that.
At first.
Yeah. Recognizing that you need help is the very first step, because a lot of us feel like we're supposed to just have it all together and not have to rely on anyone outside of ourselves. So recognizing that was a huge part of it, right? It was like, okay, something's got to give or I'm going to have a nervous breakdown here.
Yeah. And I was like, I am like having panic attacks. I am.
Yeah.
For no reason. And so, yeah, I slowly, you know, last year I felt like, wow, like I've climbed out of this hole. I feel so much better. But I'll tell you, during that time, during the low, I was feeling so desperate. And I like to find something, I don't know, I was searching for something, some sort of like relief or I don't know, like
an outlet, something to kind of grab onto, to kind of a lifeline, maybe.
Yeah. And I have been since going through like this spiritual awakening. Like I feel like I'm way more in tune, you know, of course to my body, but, to my feelings and emotions. And now I've kind of, now I feel like I'm on this spiritual path journey, and I'm like trying to learn as much as I can, because I feel like it was like this awakening for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think when you become more, you know, what I talk about a lot is when you start to align with your soul, you know, when you start to align with your truth, your authentic self, it's so powerful, because society and our culture doesn't really encourage that. You know, we're encouraged to work the corporate job, to chase the shiny objects, to present a certain picture. And a lot of times, all of that doesn't really line up with who we are. Like for you, you're an artist. That's who you are. You know, you have this creative spirit, and that's what you're meant to bring to the world. And sometimes it's hard to marry that with the social norms and paradigms, right? And so the deeper we go into what's expected of us, and the further away we get pulled from who we are as a soul, we start, you know, things start to slowly unravel. We start to lose ourselves. We start to lose our shit. You know? Because it's like we've gotten so far off course from who we really are, and we're so programmed that that's who we need to be. It's really it creates this inner struggle, don't you think?
Oh yeah, and that's why I say this feeling, this like desperate feeling of like, didn't know, you know, now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was just going through this, like not needed to, like, you know, no one wants to go through those dark times, but you know, it happens. And I feel like from that, I've experienced so much growth.
Yeah, definitely. I think the darkness is really a catalyst. That's what it's supposed to be, is a catalyst for change. It's an opportunity to really grow if you're willing to look at yourself and then start to honor your needs and your truth, you know?
Yes.
A lot of people get stuck in that suffering.
Yeah.
That's a really hard thing to navigate out of. Fortunately, you had a supportive husband. You had resources. You had been to acupuncture. I love that you went to more holistic healers
Mm-hmm.
that could support you on this journey, which is awesome.
Yeah, which I still go see regularly.
That is so great. I love that. And so now you have created this brand. Tell me a little bit about your branding. I'm wearing your clothes so people can see my tourmaline. I think they're tourmaline.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Studs that Kristina made. Sorry, I don't want to put my ear right up to the camera, but they're really cute. Trust me. So tell me about what's next for you. What's happening for you with your business?
Oh gosh, I'm really just right now, I feel like 2019 just appeared so quickly. And I've been asked that, okay, what's in store for you this year? And what are your intentions for the year or even in the future? And honestly, like the first couple weeks of January, I was like, I felt so kind of drained and not motivated and just, I don't know. I needed to let everything kind of come to me naturally. And I was like, you know what, that's fine. Like I was busting my ass, in November, December, getting ready for the holiday and all the markets and that. And so let me just take a minute and take a
breath.
Yeah. And that's okay if I need to do that. And actually, there's this great group of women that I meet with biweekly, and we kind of talked about what our, intentions or resolutions were for the year. And for me, and for Rockhaus, I think it's focus. And I want to really focus more on, of course, on the product and designs and maybe some new techniques and coming out with some collections, really refining things a bit, but also, on my marketing and really getting clear on that and really attracting those, dream clients of mine. And so really it's just focus, clarity for the year. And so, yeah, for Rockhaus, I want to, since I just launched my website a couple of months ago, I really want to work on getting, more traffic to that and working on my marketing.
Let's talk about what's your web address, and I'll drop it in the video below.
Oh yeah, it's just rockhausmetals.com, and it's ROCKHAUS metals.com.
I love that name.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think sometimes people get really focused on the striving and the doing and the hustling. And, that's great. But sometimes really powerful things happen when you can just really center yourself and focus on being and allowing the ideas to come and allowing the universe to really conspire for you and attracting to you everything that you need to springboard forward. There's a real power in owning your truth and being so powerfully aligned and knowing who you are. And I feel like you can really, really benefit from taking that pause and just allowing the universe to kind of conspire for you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes greater things than you could have ever planned for or dreamed for are in store for you. And if we don't just allow those things to come to us organically, we might miss it,
Yeah, we have to.
Miss it by being so focused on a specific number or a specific goal. We might miss the magic of what could be. It's just kind of my philosophy.
I 100% agree with that. Just taking the time to slow down and pay attention and listen to, signs or things that the universe is trying to present to us. And slowing down enough to pay attention to those things.
What I love is that you're really honoring your process and you're listening to your heart.
Yeah.
Because if you follow that, you'll never be you'll never be steered off course. You know, if you're always honoring what you feel is right for you, which I love that you just took a couple weeks to just kind of regroup and decompress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's such a great reflection of all the work that you've been doing, all the inner work, you know, that you're now coming to a place where you're not denying yourself. You're just like, I just really need to breathe right now. And you're allowing yourself to do that.
Yeah. I think that's what's so important, is recognizing when you need to take that break for those moments. Instead of being in this like hustle mode.
Well, I mean, your life is a hustle, just with twins.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
I know last night, Kristina, you're going to have to send me this picture, but the twins went to bed and were having such a good time. And then she went in there and they had just put markers, tattoos, they call them, all over their face and themselves and each other. And I mean, it's never a dull moment. So it's not like you ever get to just put your feet up and have a cocktail at home. There's always some shenanigans going on.
Totally. Yeah. It's, I mean, it's all great stuff. And
They're so cute. Oh my gosh. They must bring you so much joy.
They do. They're so much fun. They're so funny, so loving and kind. And we're so blessed to have them.
There's something about children that force you to really be present.
Yes.
You know, they really force you to find joy in life because they're just pure love.
Mm-hmm.
Not worrying about what people think or what they need to be. They're just like playing and creating and just being themselves. And it's really a great reminder for us, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got a lot to learn from them in that regard. And yeah, to just slow down and be present in every moment with them instead of, worrying about this or that or the business or, whatever it may be. Just, cherish the time that we're together, slow down, enjoy that.
It goes so fast, Kristina. It goes so fast. So I'm just going to really encourage you to just take the time to really be present for them. I was just my kids are 24 and 26 now, which I can't even believe. So they're not kids. They're like adults. But I still had to remind myself, this year, this holiday season, we got together the first time in a couple of years. I still had to remind myself to be very present because these moments really are gifts with my boys, with each one when I'm with them. I'm really trying to be present and with them and talking to them and holding space for whatever's going on in their lives or whatever they're going through, It's so easy just to take those precious moments for granted. Because my kids are grown. It's not like they're 5 and they need me to bathe, and help them, ready for bed or anything. But I've really been trying to be more present for everyone in my life. At every moment in my life, I've really been trying to appreciate the gift that this life is.
Yeah. I'm definitely working on that myself as well. I think we all have something to learn. Yeah, there.
Yeah. So tell me what has been the biggest lesson for you on this parenting journey?
I think, oh gosh, honestly, I think it was just navigating, becoming a new person, really. When you have kids, a child or children, I don't think I was prepared for my new identity, I guess, and almost mourning my old life or my old
single life.
Oh, yeah, like you go through this process where you have to, you have to establish your new normal, and I think going through that and learning that and realizing that I don't know, it's just, again, you can't prepare for it, but it really is, it's a beautiful thing, becoming a parent, and just knowing that you'll find your new normal again, and you'll find your groove, and things will start to click, and you'll find yourself again. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, don't be afraid to reach out if you're feeling a little bit lost, or get support, or find help. And I don't know, just and listen, like you were saying, like I felt like I was having these little nudges, like listen to, maybe what the universe is telling you, as far as like finding my true self and following that path, and really recognizing that. And it's brought me a lot of joy, and it's I feel like helped me become a better mom, a better wife. I'm still obviously working on that, and working on being a good friend, but really taking the time for yourself.
Yes.
It's so important. Don't stretch yourself thin. Like, take that time for you.
And it has to be a conscious decision.
Yeah.
It really does. You really have to, because I know so many people would say, I don't have time. I don't have time. When am I supposed to honor myself? When am I supposed to? You know what? You still have to take a shower every day. You could take a bath. You could, take a walk. You could walk the dog. I mean, there's things you can do just to carve out a little bit of time for yourself. I think that's so important, especially for women.
Yeah.
And moms, because we've been so programmed to kind of throw ourselves under the bus to serve others at our own expense. It doesn't have to be that way. We can show up in a much more empowered way if we take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I think that I kind of went all over the place with my answer, but I think that that's the bottom line, is just, taking care of yourself is like the biggest thing. And
whatever that looks like, right? I mean, it'll look different for everybody.
Yeah.
If it's just hydration, or being mindful of what you're putting in your body, or trying to go to bed earlier and get enough sleep. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can honor ourselves.
Yeah. I'm finding, for me, like I have to be physically active. Like, so for me, I started, now that I have this time and flexibility, like I drop off the kids at school and I try to go running. And when I don't have some sort of exercise or something for a while, like it builds up, like I can feel it, like I need that release. So it can be, exercise, or like you said, drinking more water, just being in tune to that, and recognizing that, you need to slow down a bit. And
I think you're right too, listening to those little universal nudges that are, coming. They're always coming. We're not always present to hear and receive those messages.
Yes.
So they're constantly presenting in our lives, but a lot of times we're ignoring them because we're so mentally far ahead of ourselves about what we need to be doing and where we need to be and what we should be. And, we don't really take time to just take a few breaths and calm down. Even if you're at a stop sign, take 3 deep breaths. Just calm down. I mean, deep breathing is so great. It's such a great tool. Even if you're just frantically trying to get things done, you're going to have to come to a red light. So if you come to a red light or a stop sign, take a few deep breaths and just reset. You'd be amazed at how helpful that is. It's just such a small, tip, but it can really make a difference.
It really does.
Be back.
Yeah, and it feels good to take like those deep breaths. And then, Yeah, you're right.
Definitely. Well, I sure have loved having you on here. Do you have any, I know you said you've been kind of on this spiritual path. What does that mean to you? What does that look like to you, Kristina?
Um, for me, I think that it means, like we were just talking about, like, um, being aware, that the universe is trying to talk to me. Um,
Mhm.
being open to, receiving those messages or signs or nudges, and
Mhm.
yeah, I think that I've I'm going in all different directions here, but I started really learning more about the lunar cycle and how that affects us, and really kind of trying to dive into that, and
Mhm.
you know like just recently learning more about Ayurveda, and there's so much.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah, like I'm I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and things, and and even in talking with you, like I'm just so, I don't know, I feel like my mind's expanding, and I just want to soak in more, and I want to learn more, and I want to really
Yeah.
get in touch with with my inner self, and
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like I said, I was kind of going through this like spiritual awakening, and
Yeah, I love that.
grasping for, and I didn't know at the time, like I didn't realize like that's what it was, but yeah, I've really enjoyed like just learning more, and I want to keep learning, and
Yeah,
that's
there's so much out there. There's so much information. I definitely felt the same way, when I started to go through my own awakening. I didn't even know what that was. Like, I didn't have a label for it. I didn't know what spirituality was. I mean, I was atheist. Like, I didn't believe there was anything outside of myself in this world.
mm-hmm.
And I was so surprised when I realized there are a lot of things outside of me that are, like you're talking about, that are impacting
Mm-hmm.
lives here. That there's this whole universe and multiverse, and there's everything is energy. I ended up becoming an
Yeah.
energy practitioner. I mean, from going from an atheist person to someone who became like a healer, is pretty remarkable. And it was like this super kind of accelerated
Really.
experience. Like I said, didn't even know spirituality was a thing. What was that? I didn't even have a name for it. I knew I wanted to be the best version of me. That's where it started for me. I knew I had gotten really blown very far off course, and I had lost myself. And I felt like my soul was dying. I can relate to what you were saying about that. I felt like if I didn't do something and do something immediately, I really felt like I was going to die.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, physically, I felt healthy, but it was like my soul was dying. I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain how I knew that, but I knew that.
I feel you.
Literally, I literally heard a whisper in my ear, and it really wasn't a whisper, and it was like a woman's voice, and it was like my voice, but it was my voice, but it wasn't my voice. I don't know how to explain it, but it was this woman's voice in my head, my ear, and I heard her say, "Save yourself." Like,
Really.
heard it clear as day, and I was like, I knew I had to listen to that.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, it was really powerful. It was like, save yourself. And I knew if I didn't, I felt like I was going to die. I don't know, maybe I would have gotten cancer, or I don't know how it would have manifested or how it would have happened, but I just knew for sure if I didn't change what I was doing and how I was treating myself, I was going to die. I really believed that.
Yeah.
So, Chris, tell me a little bit more about some of the holistic, healings you're doing for yourself on this path. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I'm definitely making sure to focus on self-care, and I go to my acupuncturist once a month still, and my chiropractor, and not necessarily when I'm having like an issue or a problem, but just to kind of stay on that wellness,
Stay aligned.
Yeah. And I start to feel if I stretch it longer than that, or, I just blow it off. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling great. I'm fine. I do start to notice, like, when I do find my way back, I just feel so much better.
Yeah.
So,
do you listen to a lot of podcasts? Are you doing that while you're working, or?
I have been. Yeah. Lately I've been getting just probably like the past 6 to 8 months, I really started getting into podcasts, whereas I never listened to them before. But now I have lots of time, or even when I'm running. Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Oh, I love it.
Have time.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That must be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome for you. Well, I've enjoyed having you on. It's been so great to connect.
Yeah. I really appreciate you having me. This has been great. Yeah. I love talking to you, of course. So this is
good. Well, for everybody out there, I hope you'll check out Rockhaus Metals, her website. She has an Instagram. If you're in the Orlando area, Kristina does a ton of pop-ups. And so do you update your website? Like, how do people find out where you're going to be selling your stuff?
The best way is on social media, as far as like where I'm going to be next. And yeah, like you said, I have an Instagram, which is just Rockhaus Metals, and on Facebook. And so I post my my events on there, so you can find me.
Do you still have an Etsy? Do you still have an Etsy shop too?
I do still have an Etsy. There's probably like a handful of listings on there. I'll probably keep it for a little while. I don't want to shut it down quite just yet, but I really, I want to steer people to the website. There's, all the latest things I'm designing and making are on there, and the whole rebranding is on there. I kind of just let it go by the wayside.
You did such a good job. I know you're going to be hugely successful. I mean, there's just no doubt about it in my mind. So everybody get on her website and check out her stuff. She does amazing stuff. She's so creative, and I can't say enough about her. I'm a little biased too because she's my favorite. Anyway, Chris, do you have any parting words of wisdom before we sign off? I always ask my guests if there's any. I know you shared a lot of cool stuff, but just wondering if you have any words of wisdom, especially if somebody's watching and is a mother, of twins. There's going to be some twin secrets out there.
Right? I don't know. I think we kind of already touched on this, but the underlying thing is just take care of yourself. Like if you're going to be, the best mother and best partner and best version of you, you really have to take some time and practice that self-care, however that looks like to you in your life. But that is just so major and so important.
Definitely. Awesome words of wisdom. To all of you watching, thank you so much for tuning in. If this interview resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and share. I hope you will all take care of yourselves today and love yourselves, and know that I love you all. Thanks so much. Bye.